Hello, my name is Mariana, and today this is a message for the collective. So, because this is a collective reading, I'm doing it with my big combined deck of tarot cards and astrological oracle cards. So, you see both of them in your reading today. Although there are only tarot cards here in the message, at least in this first part. But in a way, I feel like just having tarot cards is very soothing to my energy because it's a language that has already been incorporated to my being, to who I am as a reader. And so it makes things a little bit easier and it cools down the heat, not just the physical heat, the heat wave that is happening right now in Brazil at the moment, but also the heat from the message. And I feel like this has, a connection to the last reading that I did. So it was the full moon in Leo collective reading. And, Leo being the fire sign, of course, it would ignite all that fire. um, but today, for this message, and specifically because today is the 17th, so the 17th major arcana is the star, which represents the sign of Aquarius, which is, the polar opposite to Leo. So it wants to cool down with a soft breeze. And I feel like this soft breeze actually wants to give us all in the collective a clear direction forward, right? And that is something that is very manageable. It's very easy to navigate. This is the intention of this message here because the flame is still very small. So we start here with the Page of Wands, the Page of Fire. So it's not the intensity or the potency of the full moon in Leo that we had last week. It's more like a manageable fire. It's a smaller flame, right? It wants to be represented by a smaller flame. So, and I know that, this word flame, it can, in the collective unconscious, it could tie to the twin flame. In fact, the Two of Cups is here, the Six of Cups is here, and there is this underlying message of a twin flame connection, specifically because the King of Swords is here, and the bottom row wants to almost like be this way to rekindle, right, with a potentially twin flame connection. It's not for sure. That's the thing. And it's good that this flame right now is small, at least in you, right? Because the Page of Wands is representing you, the one that I'm reading this for. And it's beautiful because being such a small flame, it's not going to burn, right? It's not going to hurt. It's not going to harm. So it's still very pure, it's still very small and very manageable, right? Most of all, it's very manageable. So the other thing that this Page of Wands brings is this curiosity, right? This desire to know more, to learn, to lean in, right? And I feel like that's because the two cards that we have here are the reason why this curiosity is being awakened, or this flame wants to be bigger, but right now it's still in its early days, right? In its early stages. So either this is a flame of creation, right? Some sort of creative project or something like that, or even like the desire, right? The flame that is your impulse to move, right? To create, to do something with it. But these two cards came together actually, and it's funny how actually this first row, it has four cards, and I'm going to show you the other two next, but they came in pairs, right? And it's funny how we have the one and the two, which is the Ace of Swords, and then the Two of Cups. And clearly this Ace of Swords is showing the direction towards the Two of Cups. But the Two of Cups here is the heart resonance. It's this heart frequency that, tying back to that collective reading that I did for the full moon in Leo, it was talking about sharing the truth of one's heart. So here, it's kind of like that, but it's more like the curiosity to see who you're going to attract, or who who has the same signal, the same heart frequency, right? And it's kind of like this initial, it's like this initial decision. It's more like this intention to move ahead, to go ahead, because today the Ace of Swords is kind of like the curiosity that is being sparked, even though it's still very small. It is enough to jumpstart you in a sense, right? To move you at least like this very first step, especially because the number two to me represents this step forward. So it's the step towards this heart resonance, right? And yes, the Two of Cups here is talking about a connection. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic connection. It is the connection that is heartfelt, right? It's like it's heart driven. It is connected through the heart space, but it's one that is more like this magnet. So the question here is, it's like, since you have a very small fire yet, it's like, who are you going to attract? So what is this potential partner or this potential friend or this potential connection, right? It's like, because if you have this clarity, this direction, it's like maybe you're going to attract somebody that has the same clear intention. You see what I mean? Because it's like this is the fire that is moving. It's still very small, so it's not going to burn you, it's not going to harm you, right? It's like you don't have to be afraid of making that move. In fact, it's like there is almost like this underlying trust that if you're being this proactive one that is leaning forward, that is taking this step, it's like inevitably, it's like you can expect to call someone or to connect with someone that somehow resonates with you. You see what I mean? So there is a little bit of naivety here because it's a page, but it's like this inevitable trust. It's like this very innocent trust, right? It's like the trust that if you know what is the fire that is guiding you, that is moving you, it's like somehow you know that you're not going to be burned, you're not going to be harmed by this connection, whoever you attract, right? And so the interesting thing is that I feel like whatever you have this innocent trust or this initial uh thrust forward is what I'm hearing. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Thrust forward. It's like you know that because it's true to this small fire, this small flame, it's almost like it's your flame that is going to be united with another flame. You see what I mean? So it's like it's not going to burn either you or this partner. It's almost like this, yeah, it's just like this trust. I don't know how else to express that, but it's like this innocent trust that is going to guide you to somebody who has also maybe this feeling, this small flame that is guiding them towards you, right? So it's like this mutual attraction, but it's still small. It's not, it's very innocent. It's perhaps naive still, right? But here, the next pair of cards, it feels like there is, it's like it goes a little bit deeper. It's not so shallow. It's not just like a romantic attraction. It's not just a naive connection. It's not a shallow thing, right? It has depth because we have the Magician now and the Six of Cups. So the Magician, when it's upright, especially, it holds secrets, or it is keeping things from being perceived clearly, right? So here, the clarity is because you can manage the small fire. So it's like this is not going to be a self-destructive type of relationship or type of connection. It's something that is manageable and it's pleasing, right? It is heartfelt. So there is this it's like this soothing energy to the heart, right? The sense of, I don't know, kindling with somebody that knows you or knows your heart, recognizes your heart. And that is because the Magician here is, it's taking you deeper, right? It wants to bring something that perhaps is very easy to understand, is very clear. It's like it's something that is, on the surface level, for somebody that is still learning how to manage their own fire, their own flame, or maybe it's new to this twin flame type of narrative, right? Maybe you have never had a type of relationship that could be described as a twin flame. So, in that sense, you are the page, right? And so, because you're just following the truth of your heart, you're leaning towards the Two of Cups. And there is this magnetism, right? This heart resonance. I feel like once that connection is made, it's kind of like, it's almost like a surprise, a magical surprise that this connection actually goes way, way deeper. And, you know, maybe goes way back, lifetimes where you had multiple connections with this one, right? So in this lifetime, perhaps, you know, this is a new person. This is not somebody that you've known before, but you do feel like this. It's almost like this instantaneous connection because of the heart resonance, and because there is this innocent trust. It's just like flowing with the breeze. It's like just allowing the breeze to take you to this one, right? To trust that whomever you're attracting, it is going to be in resonance with your heart. But when that first step is made, is taken, then the magician is ready to reveal more, right? It's almost like the magician here is opening the door to your subconscious. And it's kind of like revealing all of the times that you had connections with this person. And it's kind of like all of the layers, all of it's like the depth of this connection and the reason why this felt so easy, so right, right? So truthful. So even though it could have started in such a very in such a an innocent way, in a very uh like uninterested way, here it's not. It has depth, right? It's like there is a reason why both of you have attracted each other. It's because you have a history, right? You have, and it's not something, even though this person might be a new person to you, and you might be new to this situation, this whole twin flame type of story, it's still small. It's not going to harm you. And so it's like you can deal with more information coming from the magician, right? So, but the intention of the magician here is to reveal you layer by layer, the more you are ready to see the magic. So it's kind of like seeing the magic that goes beyond this lifetime. So it's like uncovering layer per layer. Each time that you are with this person, it's almost like you see, I don't know if you've had that, but I've had these moments with a few people in my life where I look at their faces and I actually see another face, which is very, very strange. And it might last like just a second, right? But it's this odd feeling that somehow I know them, right? And I know that may sound really, really awkward, but maybe this is the feeling that you have. It doesn't need to be literally like that, as I described, but it's kind of like unveiling the mask, right? It's almost like the more layers you discover about this relationship, it's like the deeper you go into this rabbit hole of magic, right? So the magician wants to reveal you, but it wants to go slow, right? It's like because you're new at this, right? It's like your flame is still small, but the more you remember, the more it grows. And this is what the next row of cards is talking about. And I'm getting chills. It's because the very first thing that you had in mind, the moment that you paid attention to this small flame, or the moment that you had that first flicker, that first sparkle, that first desire. And it could have been like a very innocent moment, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be directed to a person in particular, but if somebody came to your mind in a moment where you were just kind of playing with your own energy here, right? Discovering and curious about your own flame, your own small desire, right? It's like if you had this very truthful thought, this insight that came about a person, it's like there is more to that. And the more you dive into that, the more the magician reveals you about these layers of connections, right? So maybe all of the relationships that you had in past lives with this person, I feel like it's going to become clearer and clearer the reason why this person is so significant for you, because it's the King of Swords. So this sort of truth was actually pointing towards a specific person, right? And even though I started saying that you were not intending to go towards a specific person, the truth in you was attracting somebody that had the same heart resonance, right? And I feel like it's still something that for you in particular, uh it's not very well thought. It's like you haven't really put a lot of thought into this, right? It's like the more you dive into this, because so until the very last card showed up, I was still unsure whether or not you had met this person. And I feel like even though, as I said, you don't know this person, this is a new person, I still have doubts whether or not you have met them already. And to be honest, I feel like you probably haven't. But because of this remembrance, layer by layer, that is being uncovered by the magician, I feel like somehow the connection, the heart to heart connection, the one that you have been inclined to go, right, to follow this direction, with your inclination, with your desire, somehow that's because the other side is ready. It's like they are already exactly where they need to be. The Five of Pentacles is where they are. But this place for them, which to me is like this integrity, right? They are in their personal integrity. So, in a sense, they are already aware, perhaps even, of this connection. But you are not. It's like you still have to understand how to control this fire, or how to manage the fire, or how to work this with this fire, with this flame, since this whole thing might be completely new for you, right? But it's not exactly new because you've been here, right? It's like if you go through your memories, right? Maybe past life memories, it's like you will recognize this one. And it's because it's almost like, to be honest, it's almost like the other way around. It's not like you are being the one who is proactively taking this step towards attracting the one who has the same frequency, right? But it's actually a call from them. They have been in this position of sovereignty, right? It's like they have been in their place waiting for you to come. So it's almost like they have done everything that they needed. And I want to say like telepathically, right? Because they are coming through with the King of Swords. So it's kind of like they have control over their mind. They have control over their thoughts. They can use their psychic abilities in a way that is masterful. So, but they are it's like they're keeping it cool. They're not overwhelming you with signals. Um they're not screaming, right? They're just holding their position. This is what the Five of Pentacles is showing me. It's like the level of mastery and consciousness and awareness perhaps of this connection with you, it's very well sorted out. It's like in their mind they know exactly where they need to be. For you, because this is still very new and you need to learn how to manage this small flame, this small fire, It's like it needs to be a layer by layer type of deepening process, right? So, but the very first insight for you was something that was already pointing in the right direction, which was, in a sense, redirecting to this King of Swords, because it's like they have to hold this position. Somehow they are exactly where they need to be, because where they are is going to be shown by the moon. So it's interesting how, we're past the full moon apex, right? The point of, where the moon is the brightest in the night sky. So the moon is already waning in a sense. So it's not at its fullest. So it's almost like the King of Swords cannot leave their spot to come to you. You have to be the one to go to them through almost like these layers and layers and layers of, past memories. So it's almost like connecting telepathically, but also through the heart space, because, that is the way that you're going to find them. But in a way, they are there waiting for you and waiting for the next full moon cycle. And, I'm saying the next full moon cycle. It's not, I don't want to give like this predetermined type of full moon, but it does feel like it is when the moon is at its fullest that is going to shine a light over this place where they are. So it's kind of like for them to be seen, or talking about revelations, right? It's almost like the final layer where you're going to finally see them again, right? And I want to see them again because you've been with them, you've seen them, you've had relationships with them, but maybe you don't remember. This remembrance is coming in layers, right? Back to you because you're still learning about how to manage all of that. But it's like this one is wise enough to wait for how many moon cycles it's needed, because they're waiting exactly in the right spot that is going to be highlighted when the moon is at its fullest, right? And it's kind of like this signal, right? It's like kind of like this telepathic signal through the moon, right? It's like even if you don't see them physically, although the Five of Pentacles is here, right? It's kind of like you're going to have a very clear image, right? It's almost as if they were there in front of you. So even if this is kind of like looking at the moon when it's at its fullest, and you know that they're going to be looking at the same moon wherever they are, in the world, it's like it's going to feel like they are right there with you. You see what I mean? So they are waiting for the right cycle to come through again, because it's almost like you two have done this, right? It's almost like these past lives, they have been rehearsals for this moment where it's like they know the truth about this connection. It's like they see the same thing that you see. So they are holding this position for when the moment aligns, and they are going to be shown, they are going to be perceivable, they are going to be visible, right? So it's interesting how they are not moving. You're the one taking the sleep, but it seems like actually they're calling you, right? Which is very, very interesting. So I am going to pull more cards to see where this reading wants to go. And also, I'm going to pull from the astrological runes in the extended reading. If you want to join me there, I'll be very, very happy to see you. So, as I said in the beginning, I think I said that the extendeds are actually now being hosted at the new platform. So, you can find a link for that down below. And if not, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.